thank you so much. We have Alokananda Roy with us. She needs no introduction, but I think the art form has reformed so many people. I would say people, not just
Yes.
inmates, and has really broadened our horizon and shocked out of our comfort zone. So thank you so much for doing that.
Pleasure.
I mean, I think the first question should be why the off-beaten track? I mean, why were you inspired, or how were you inspired to use all of this, all of your dance knowledge, children's little theatre,
Yeah.
growing up in that, and then how did you just absolutely immerse yourself from that into this?
I have never planned anything, and in everything in life, I've never walked the treaded path. Whether it's the way I dress, whether it's the kind of work I do, whether it's the life I lead, it's always different. And that's what I thrive in. I never wanted to be a performer. I always wanted to be a dancer, but never a performer. But then it happened. Everything happened. Even this happened, right? I started with, less privileged children, talented ones. I used to pick up the talented, underprivileged children and groom them. I started Inspiration Foundation, where I was nurturing them in different kinds of art forms. But one day I suddenly realized that what am I doing? Why am I isolating them? When I have a dance school of my own, why would I have another foundation for them? I closed it. Mind you, I had all those tax exemption stuff that is required for whatever NGO, if you call it. But I just closed it. And I brought the children into my mainstream school because I never wanted them to be different from others. These are the children I took to Japan 5 times. They traveled with me. Rather, I traveled with them. The cause was theirs, not mine. I was with them, guiding them. But how this came about was also accidental.
Mm-hmm.
I went as a guest on the International Women's Day. And then, of course, see how destiny plays a role. And at that time, there was no separate women's correctional home. It was all within the presidency jail. They had a female ward, a separate ward for them. So that's how I landed up in presidency jail. And believe me, I didn't even know. You know that I'm a devotee of Mother Sri Aurobindo, and I didn't even know that his cell was there, because all along, whatever little I've read, it was always the Alipur jail. The Alipur jail is different from presidency, so I always thought he was there, and not in presidency. But he was in presidency. That's in Alipur, but it was presidency. I went and I was rushing because I was running a little late. So I rushed for the program, and it was all a women's program that day. And the women, and so when I walked into the prison, I didn't even look at the people. I was just looking all around. That is this what the prison looks like? It's not what we see in the films. Cooked up cell, dark, a streak of light coming from somewhere. See, that's our idea of a prison cell, right? So there was so much openness, trees, cuckoos chirping. I was quite surprised, but I was rushing, so I didn't look anywhere. And after that little program was over, speeches, they sang, the women sang a couple of songs, recited, but there was no dance. So some of the girls came up to the then IG, the former IG, British, played a big role in starting this whole thing. He was quite passionate about it, and the minister, the former minister, they were there. So the girls approached them, says that please ask her to teach us dance. So they approached me and says that they want to learn. Do you agree? I said yes, even without thinking, because I was curious. I was curious to know about their life, the life within the prison, because it's not what, it didn't look what I imagined it to be. Right? So it was also my curiosity that made me say yes, not for the love of them, or for doing something great. So when I came out, Mr. Sharma took me all around he showed me surrounding the cell. And I said, is this where he stayed? He said, yes. Not Alipur jail? He said, no, this is his cell. So I went in and I stood there for a while, and then he took me to Netaji's cell and the gallows. I was on a sightseeing tour. That's when I noticed the boys. And maybe because I'm a dancer, I can read body language. So they were walking around without sort of nothing to look forward to, aimlessly. That sluggish walk. And they kept looking at me because I was an alien there, a woman walking in. So when I saw them, I instinctively asked Mr. Sharma, can I also teach the boys? So it's all there in the documentary. So he said, don't you feel scared?
Yeah, in your documentary, it's just, very eloquently put as well.
Yeah. So I said, won't you feel scared? So I said, why should I feel scared? Oh, they're all my son's age, what did they do to me? So I said, no, people don't feel scared. So I said, no. He says, okay. That's how it started. It was on 8th March and it was a Sunday. Not a Sunday, maybe, whatever. So he said, okay, then let's sit and discuss one day. So I said that, okay. He said, then you start right away. I met him next Sunday. I think he said, why did you start the next Sunday? So I said, no, not next Sunday. He said, why? So I said, no, that's my birthday. So he said, that's why you should start all the more. I said, okay, done. So, they used to celebrate my birthday because for them, it was a new beginning for them too. That's what they told me. I said, the first time you've done it, you've celebrated, okay, next year, not again, not every time. It's very embarrassing sometimes because after all, it's a prison, and I don't want people to think that, I was being sort of put on a pedestal and being celebrated. You understand? I always have a very low key.
But I think they kind of accepted you like their mother.
Yeah,
and that is exactly.
Yeah. So when I told them, I said, no, you don't have to celebrate my birthday every year. She says, no, don't forget it's our birthday too. That's when our journey began.
Absolutely.
Right? So I let them. Okay, if they feel happy about it, it's fine. So that's how it started, and I still remember how reluctant the boys were because they were literally pushed into it. So when the highest authority has ordered, they can't say no. But I don't think they were at all happy to be pushed into this.
And then slowly they must have,
Yeah, but I knew. I know how boys feel about, especially, because I'm a woman. Right? It's not a man going into
I mean that is also something that you've transcended that mindset that taking orders from a older lady or a woman and all of that.
Yeah.
So how did you break that? I mean, how did you literally break the stereotypes?
They are petrified of me.
And then getting them to do this program every year. Now
Every
it's
year?
now it's become.
Every month?
I mean, every other
God.
every other month, I
My
should say now,
God.
right?
Sometimes, they would do 2-3 programs in a month, and sometimes maybe not even one the next month. That is also there. Anyway, so I started with martial arts, and I told them, I said, there are 2 things I want to tell you right from the beginning. That I will never ask you why you're here, because most of the people ask. They're very curious. So many people ask me, what has he done? What has he done? I said, don't ask me because I don't know. I've never asked. But why a person has been given a lifetime, that I know. But I don't need to ask. That's none of my business.
So you've been working with all these different, people from different backgrounds, as
Yeah,
you're calling
yeah.
this, but they've all accepted your love therapy.
Yes, yes.
So how did it feel to, be touching lives, and at the same time, when you come home, obviously you have to be a little detached as well from each of their unique experiences.
No, I'm
So-
never detached.
Okay.
I'm never detached while I'm there, or while I'm at it, right? When I'm with them, they are like my other students. I don't see them any different. They are like any other. I mean, at the end of the day, they're all human beings. And as I keep saying, and I'll repeat this every time I speak, that no child is born an offender. I don't like to use the word criminal. No child is born an offender. We judge people very easily. Well, if you have wronged, you have to be punished, and they have been judged, right? They are serving a term for whatever they have done. Do we need to punish them over and over again? Then we are wrong. And we call it a correctional home. So if somebody wants to be good, start life all over again, he or she should be given that fair chance. I was also asked, this was before Kasab was executed, that do you think Kasab should also be pardoned? I said, if you want, you have to remember that he's an 18-year-old boy. He's been brainwashed into doing this. So the main culprit is the person who's made Kasab. Punishing him. This boy, if his mind is bent upon harming people, killing people, for whatever reason, then he should be executed. But if he repents and he wants to come back to a normal life, he should be given that fair second chance. I always tell everybody deserves a second chance, maybe not a third. If you cannot respect the second chance, you don't deserve a third chance. That's my motto. That's what I feel. That's how I treat everybody. They know that if they do something wrong, and I will tell them not to. And if that is repeated, nothing major, within that, if that is repeated, out from my team. But he will remain my child.
Yeah,
That
you
is
said
separate.
that many
He'll
times in your
always-
interviews and your documentary. And
He will always remain my child. But I will not take him in the team. Discipline is required. And I've given him a chance. If you think that I'm one of those mothers who will give in to everything, you're mistaken.
so do you think when we've been working with different inmates, women or men, do you think that the men are more proactive in doing something, in learning the art form or the therapy, that they're accepting it easily than the women? Or is there
there
anything?
is a reason. There is a reason. Firstly, men physically have more energy. That's what I feel. They have more energy, and unused physical energy.
So they need to channel.
So I just channelized them, and they were enjoying it. As I keep saying that they felt the rhythm within them, and they were enjoying